I have more kids than legs, though technically that's been true since before amputation. I lost many things when I lost my leg, but some of the most painful losses had less to do with my body and more to do with my family. Let's start with some backstory. Since I was little, I always wanted to be a mother one day. Not because kids are all fun and games, but because at the end of the day, family matters more to me than the jobs I've worked or the places I've been. In light of a family history of infertility struggles, when I got married, my husband and I didn't put off having kids. Before long, we had child 1.0. My plan was to have all my kids close together. Since I was young, I'd still be relatively young when they eventually grew up and moved out, so there would still be time to have a career and do other things. Plus, it might be easier to get pregnant younger. Hence the motivation to have all our kids right away. For half a year, we tried to order the second installment, so to speak. It took long enough that I was just starting to get worried when I finally got pregnant with child 2.0. What followed next was years of secondary infertility. There's a nearly 8-year gap between child 2.0 and child 3.0. But at least he's here. It was a very high-risk pregnancy where both his life, and to a lesser extent mine, were in jeopardy because the placenta had partially detached. His labor was very tense with some scary moments, but he made it, and boy was he cute. Encouraged by having had a third child, my plan was that as soon as my body was ready and my doctor said it was safe, my husband and I would have one more pregnancy. I worried that if we delayed, I wouldn't be able to get pregnant again. The fact that my body had just cooperated felt like a rare window of opportunity. That window was slammed shut when I got crippled. Little Marco was only a month old when my foot got crippled and I started down a path leading to amputation. Now the thing about this journey is that it got real complicated real fast as other conditions set in, such as a disease called complex regional pain syndrome. And the drama didn't end after amputation. When CRPS got into my other leg, we were fighting the same battle on a different front. I was on very high doses of strong medications. I was getting frequent injections of ketamine and later was given regular infusions of bisphosphonates, which thankfully made the CRPS symptoms go away. In the middle of all this, I wasn't just a patient. I was still a mother, one who wanted another pregnancy. But the choice to have more children had been taken away from me by circumstances. All the drugs I was on were unsafe to take while pregnant. In fact, with one of them, it wasn't safe to get pregnant for an entire year after each infusion, and I was dependent on them. But medications weren't the only problem. When you go through a major medical crisis, there can be a domino effect. I ended up with back problems, metabolic issues, chronic pain, chronic fatigue, just to name a few. It's like chopping off a leg and invalidated my body's warranty, and suddenly everything else started breaking. Even after I eventually got off prescription medications, I was in no fit state to consider another pregnancy. I was so tired, sick, and in pain already that I was struggling just to take care of myself. There was no way I could handle another pregnancy, let alone taking care of babies. That was a very depressing realization. Sometimes we grieve for what we've lost. Other times we grieve for what we never got to have. Keep in mind, even before all this drama, I had been dealing with secondary infertility. Add on these other challenges, and it would have taken a miracle to have more kids. And while I do believe that miracles can and do occur, it just didn't feel right to try to have more kids when the kids I already had desperately needed me. Motherhood isn't just about bringing new life into the world. It's about taking care of that life once it's entrusted to you. Without a doubt, the greatest loss I felt from amputation is that I feel like I lost my kids. And the feeling is mutual. My daughter has often expressed that she feels like she lost the mother she used to have.
And I feel like I lost my mom and dad. She died, but I know she didn't die, just that. I just miss you, dear. I love you. Will you be my mommy?
Yes, I will always be your mommy. It wasn't just that I couldn't walk, but that I was gone. You see, when you're fighting to save a leg, you start spending a lot more time with doctors and a lot less time at home. And remember, I've had to play this limb salvage game more than once. I went from being a full-time mom to being not only disabled, but missing in action.
Mama?
In the days leading up to amputation, I was gone 10 to 12 hours per weekday and was extremely sick on the weekends from all the injections. I wasn't able to be a mom. I couldn't do normal things or spend quality time with them. My youngest was still little enough that I could take him along to appointments oftentimes, which is great, otherwise when would I have seen him? But what about my older kids? They were at school during the day, and I got home later than they did. But by that point in the day, I was so wasted from all of the medical treatment that I didn't feel up to doing much. Plus, there was only an hour or two before bedtime. I heard a quote once that in a child's mind, love is really spelled T-I-M-E. And when it came to time, I was bankrupt. Because my medical drama didn't end with amputation, these problems have persisted. For years now, I've been fighting a discouraging battle to be a mom again. I want to spend quality time with my kids, to teach them and play with them, and most importantly, to let them know that they're loved. They need their mother, and I need them. It hasn't been easy because the rest of life doesn't stop just because you're hurt or depressed. Balancing life's many responsibilities has proven to be a real juggling act. If I really want my kids, then I need to be willing to make sacrifices and fight for them. So this year, I've upped my game. The health problems haven't gone away, but overall, I'd say they're less intense than they were a year ago. If I wait for problems to disappear entirely, then I will miss my kids' childhoods. That's something I would regret the rest of my life. So even though I'm still struggling, I've been doing my utmost to regain what I lost. My kids need me home more, and I want to be with them. It hasn't been easy, and I've had to make some sacrifices, but I've been trying to rearrange things so I'm gone less when my kids are home from school.
We've saved the patient.
For example, I've started going to bed right after my kids do most nights, which means giving up kid-free time to get things done at night, but it gives me more time to sleep, so hopefully I'll have more energy for my kids the next day. I'm also actively trying to strengthen my body in hopes that will help me feel better, so it'll be easier to do things with my family. I try to include them while I'm exercising because it's possible to be together while still getting things done.
You ready?
Hi.
And since time will always be limited, I'm trying to make it count. I don't have the ability to do everything I used to, but I'm committed to doing what I can. My focus is on the small, simple moments. Even though I'm exhausted and in pain in these moments, they're still precious to me. My family life isn't perfect, but it's improving. Change rarely happens overnight, but I can feel things gradually shifting in a good direction. Getting my family back has given me true joy. I'm exhausted but happy, and my kids and husband seem happier too. I don't hear people talk about this issue much, but I suspect it's something a lot of us deal with in one way or another. Even without a disability in the mix, many people struggle with things like family life or infertility. I don't want my motherhood to be a casualty of circumstances. Regardless of how legitimate my reasons are, I will still regret it if these days pass me by. Right now, I can't change the big things in my life. Instead, my hope is that by making a myriad of small, simple changes, it will add up to the change I need. Even though what I've got to offer doesn't feel like it's enough, I'm still giving my insufficient all. Miracles are often homemade. My kids don't need me to be perfect. They simply need me. I'm Stephanina, and thank you for letting me share my thoughts today. If you want to see what it's like being an amputee mom, here is the playlist. And good luck with everything you've got going on. Life can be rough, but when we do what we can, I believe it can get better. See you next time.